Moving abroad with ease. I am so excited about today's conversation because I'm going to be meeting with Amber, who I actually met in person in Texas. We both spoke at the same conference, and her company is Move Abroad or Moving Abroad. Sorry. Her company is Overseas with Ease. And honestly, one thing I love about being online is, how you can connect with so many people all over the world. But y'all, we got to be honest. We have to be honest, okay? There is still something so beautiful and so irreplaceable about being able to actually meet and connect with someone in person. So I'm so excited that Amber and I got to connect in person whenever we were in San Antonio, Texas. We spoke at the same conference. And yeah, so we're going to be talking about her moving abroad journey because she's actually lived in several places. We'll be talking about her move abroad journey. We'll be asking her about some myths that everybody seems to want to believe about moving abroad. So we're going to be busting some moving abroad myths today. And we're going to be asking about her journey, and we're going to be asking her about her challenges. And yeah, I'm really excited. And as soon as she gets in here, we are going to let her in. If y'all have any questions about moving abroad below, feel free to drop them below in the comments. Either myself or Amber will answer. Yeah, just let us know. I mean, we're here to be a resource for you at the end of the day. So just if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to drop them below. And also, if y'all are new here, drop a number one for me in the comments. If you have never joined any of my lives before, let me see those number ones. I'm mostly live on Blick Block. You feel me? Look, I don't even want to say the word because I feel like IG go shut me down. But I'm mostly live on the other platform. But I like going live with other people on this platform. It's a little bit more collaborative. So I do see that Amber has joined, and as soon as she requests to get up in here, we are going to let her right on in. And yeah, like I said, whatever questions y'all have, you can drop them below in the comments. We'll definitely try to answer as many questions as we can, but we're really going to focus on getting through the questions that I'll share this live with anybody who is interested in moving abroad, living abroad, anybody you're trying to convince to move abroad, and all of that.
Hi, good
Amber, hello.
afternoon. How are you
Okay,
doing?
I am great. How are you?
Good, good. I'm glad I finally got in. I've been trying. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, of course now. It's not working. But we're here.
Listen, you know how tech be. Tech works whenever
Oh,
it wants to tech.
exactly. But yes, thanks for having me, Bianca.
Yes, of course. We're super excited to have you. I just want to make sure you can hear me, see me, okay?
Everything is
Yes?
great. I have fans on. Is that good?
I
The
don't hear
sound's
any
okay?
fans. I
Lovely.
don't hear any fans. You're good. You are a little bit blurry for me. I don't know if she's blurry for anybody else. Not super blurry, but you are. Oh, wait, it just cleared up a little bit. I was going to say you were like a little bit blurry, but not like super. I think it's better now. Okay, yeah, no, it's
Okay.
better now. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. I'm like, I'm
Okay.
on Starlink, but like, woo, still.
I know it because every time you think you got it right. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about you. I've already been ranting about how excited I was to meet you in person at Mover Broadcon and all of that. But go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you.
Definitely. Well, my name is Amber C. Edwards, and I'm a relocation specialist. I focus on helping Black women from the United States move abroad. I have been living overseas since 2018 when I made my first move to Doha, Qatar. I was there for 6 months, had a blast, but didn't end up lasting very long. So ended up moving to the Caribbean. My dad's actually from Antigua and Barbuda. So I moved there, was able to get my Antigua passport, lived there for about 2.5 years until COVID. Yes, we're about dual citizen over here. And then COVID hit and the island shut down, the airport shut down. So at that time, I was looking and doing some research of like, where are all the Black people going in this new pandemic that we are? And Mexico seemed to be one of the countries that had about three like growing communities of Black people from the US. So I'd already moved two women to Mexico, Tulum and to Puerto Vallarta at that moment. So I was like, you know what? Let's enroll in Spanish classes. I'll be there for 2 months and I'm gonna be fluent by the end of those 2 months. So definitely didn't happen. I only lasted 2 weeks and ended up just taking like a road trip through Mexico. I stopped in Merida, Palenque, Huatulco, Oaxaca de Juarez, Mexico City, and that's where I ended up spending the most of my time was in Mexico City. I was making that like a semi home base, like a flexible home base as like someone
Yeah.
who's a digital nomad. And then from Mexico City, I just would go visit other cities. I would go for like a month or two just to get the vibes of them. And so I visited 13 different states, countless neighborhoods in the meantime
Wow.
as well, and kind of go back and forth between Mexico City and where I'm now, which is Puerto Escondido in Oaxaca. So sometimes I need a little beach, sometimes I need the city, so call me Miley Cyrus. I need the best of both worlds. And so here I am. It's rainy season right now in Mexico City, so I'm here on the beach, but I'll go back for the scouting trip in during the Dia de Muertos holiday, which is November 2nd through the 5th as well.
So fun. So, fun fact, I was actually in Mexico City for Dia de los Muertos in 2019. And oh my God, I never expected to fall in love with Mexico City the way that I did. I mean, in general, I love Mexico. Those of you who've been on my journey following me, y'all know I'm constantly ranting about how Mexico is my favorite country. And like hearing you talk about all these places that you've been, I'm like, that's what I be telling y'all. There's so many places in Mexico. I think I've been to 6 or 7 cities, and I can easily name like another 7 places that I still want to go. Like, I just feel like Mexico is a country that is just it's just always giving. And thank you for kind of highlighting like the full journey and showing how you have lived in all of these different places. Because I mean, first of all, can we talk about Qatar? Because first of all, I hadn't even heard of Qatar until like the last couple of years of my life. Full transparency, y'all. Y'all know I'm gonna always keep it honest. And I don't hear about a ton of people going there. So tell us a little bit about Qatar. What was that like?
I had such a good time. And this is actually a different time in my life. So I was married at that time. And so my husband, well, ex-husband now, but got a job offer there. And he was like, hey, do you want to come with me? So I put out in my Facebook, like, hey, you guys, like my husband's moving to Qatar. I might go. And my friend, who's a news anchor, she sent me this very intensive article from the New York Times because they had just won the bid for the World Cup. So this was back in 2018. And so I read the article and I was like, oh, it's the richest country. I think it was the richest country in the world at the time, one of the safest countries also. So I was like, yeah, let's go, bump it. This is one of my dreams was to live abroad. And I thought I had to wait until I was retired in order to do so, because that's kind of like what they tell you, like, oh, like do all this work and then you go to another country afterwards. But I was like, no, I don't want to wait till I'm 50 or 60. Like I want to do this now. And so
Yeah.
ended up putting on Facebook that I was moving, and a friend from college had told me that her cousin had been living there for 10 years. And so she connected us, and blessings Shay, she told me the who, what, when, where, why, how, woulda, what, pita, like everything about the country. And then she also connected me with the Black Facebook groups that were there. So there's one called Brothers and Sisters of Qatar. So as a side note, pretty much every like large city or country for sure has a Black people in or brothers and sisters of or just expats in, insert country name, insert city name. And I didn't know that at that point. So I was just
Yeah.
looking up information on Google and I was like, none of this is written from my perspective. Someone who looks like me, it's going to be a very different experience. So once I found that group, I just read every post from the last year and I got completely engulfed and ended up starting a business because back in college, I used to do hair, I used to do weave, sew-ins. That was my side hustle. So I had noticed that a lot of the women were saying that they had difficulty finding people doing quality weaves and extensions. So I was like, oh, well, I used to do this in college. I bought some hair over and I was like, hey, y'all, I'm going to be doing hair. Just, nothing too fancy. Just they needed something to do in the daytime. And a photographer had reached out, was like, hey, let's do a collaboration. The first time you get any new clients that you have, let's do a photo shoot where I have a makeup artist and I'll take pictures and you can do hair. And that was also the first time I heard about a collaboration. So I was like, okay, this works. Got my first client. She agreed to be in the photo shoot, had the photo shoot, and he was like, oh, are you going to do a website or anything for this? And I was like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I said, okay, well, let's take some pictures of you too. So the makeup artist did my makeup, took some photos, and he was like, can I send these to somebody? And I was like, yeah, like, go ahead. Whatever. Like, I did operations. I still do operations. So, like, I'm the girl who's in the back. I'm not very much in the front of things. So he ended up sending it to his Qatari makeup artist friend, who sent it to to her Lebanese Qatari photographer friend. Shout out to Nude and Rafid, and ended up doing a photo shoot together. He went viral, and that kind of started my semi-modeling career in Qatar. Was not expecting that. Ended up like walking in a runway show, and I had like an 8-page spread in Grazi, Arabia, also for the 50th anniversary. All random, y'all. Like all random. They're like, "Are you a model?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I am." Like, absolutely not. Never modeled in my life, but hey, no one knows me there. So I was okay with failing or messing up because it's in a whole nother country on the other side of the world from my home base. And so I also ended up with the hair. I noticed that, I'm bald, as you guys know. So I usually go to a barber, but because in the Middle East, especially like Qatar, a lot of the men and women are separated. So just to go to the barber shop was either me going after hours or they had to shut it down just for me to go. So I just realized that like, okay, these are some of the intricacies that women and men have to go through when it comes to hair care. Sometimes it's easier just to have people come to the house. So I did a little research and noticed that they didn't have any on-demand beauty service app like they do in the US, similar to like a Glam Squad or a Priv. And in my mind, I was like, okay, this is the richest country in the world. The women are full glam, weave, extension under the abayas. The abayas are thousands of dollars. Never seen so many Birkins in my life. Why wouldn't we have this app? So I ended up applying for an incubator program through QBIC, the Qatar Business Incubation Center, and I got approved. So they were actually going to help me create this app and give me funding for it. So that was my whole journey. And the only reason why I didn't continue was because we ended up moving and the app wouldn't have fit in Antigua and Barbuda as well and as easy as it would have in Qatar. So I kind of just let it go. And at that moment, I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this entrepreneurship thing, I need a business that can move with me, no matter wherever, like what country I move to. And ended up in Antigua doing some travel and relocation for professional athletes. I used to work for the NFL Players Association and met so many people. And this time again, it's now it's 2019 coming, rolling up on 2020, and people were wanting to move abroad, but there wasn't a lot of information online because remember back then Instagram didn't even have reels. Okay, y'all, that didn't exist. It was just pictures only. So people kept saying, oh, I've always wanted to move abroad, but I don't know where to go, or I don't know how to get the process started. I don't know, it's so expensive to move and to live in another country. And I was like, okay, well, you get started, you just go. You don't know where to go. We can figure out the place. And it's actually not expensive. I'm actually saving a lot of money, more money living abroad. So that's how I created, it was called 30 Day Blacksit at the time. Since then I've rebranded to Overseas with Ease, but that was the intention, was in 30 days, I can plan your relocation to any country in the world. So it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out 10-year process. Like my goals were 30 years in the making. It can be something that if you want to do it, you can take the steps and make this a reality sooner. And
Yeah.
since then, I've helped over 250 Black people, Black families, Black women in their relocation process as well. And it's quite a joy. I love my students and just helping them uncover their dreams and see a type of freedom that they've never seen in the US before.
Mm,
It's quite amazing.
yeah. Oh man, that's my heart just smiles, honestly, just listening to all of this, just from the fact that, you go to Qatar, you don't really know anything about the place beforehand, and you just see these opportunities just pop up. And sometimes what I often tell people is like, you don't know what you don't know. You think that, oh, well, I can't do this for this reason, or if I go here, this won't happen. I'm like, sis, you don't even know. How about you get there? Like, how about
Mhm.
you get there? Because you have no idea what the universe is going to drop on your lap whenever it sees that you are willing to take the
Yep.
leap. And you even said yourself, right? These people are like, I want to do this, but it's so expensive. It's so hard. And I mean, we could probably go on and on and on about misconceptions in terms of moving abroad, but just based on what you have seen, what would you say are like the top 1 to 3 myths about moving abroad that you have seen out here in these internet streets that people have brought to you and your consultations, and you're just like, actually, let me put you on game.
Um, it depends. So for a lot of people, it's the financials. So first, if they think that, okay, especially Black people, when we go on vacation, we ball out. We spend thousands of dollars on a 4-day weekend. That's how much I spend in a month for everything: housing, food, transportation, fun, cell phone bill, all of it. So that was the first thing, is that it's expensive. And it can be, like, depending on where you move. Dubai was not, sorry, not Dubai. Qatar was not cheap. Like, the rent was very comparable to the US.
Yeah.
Antigua was getting there. Mexico, I can afford Mexico, especially on my budget. Whereas as a solo entrepreneur, I don't want to have the pressure to have to make 10, 15, $20,000 a month. I'm okay especially when I made my first move, making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And that covers everything with a little bit of extra too. And so that relieved the pressure from me from having to like be this big grandiose, like, the US. So that was the first thing, is that it's expensive. And a lot of people don't realize, like, you guys have money. A lot of people have a storage unit that they're paying hundreds of dollars a month. They've had it for years, don't even know what's in the storage unit. Start there. Go through the unit. Start selling things. If it's not a family memory, get rid of it because you probably haven't used it. Get rid of that storage unit. 1 year of a storage unit, you could save thousands of dollars. That's going to pay for your initial flight. That's going to be like the most expensive thing, really, is just the flight to get there. Because once you're there, your rent, your food, your transportation, your cell phone bill, and any activities is going to be a lot less money. The second is for my parents. So they think like, okay, well, my kids are already enrolled in school. I don't want to get them out of school. Or what about the schooling? And so to that, I say, well, it just depends on your child. I always recommend for my parents the first year abroad to keep them enrolled in their current state's education, but an online version. That way, if they don't like the city, they're still have the flexibility to move without being stuck in a school system. And also, they're
Mm.
still in the US system, so they're still speaking English. It isn't such a big culture shock as they're making that transition. And a lot of those online schools, or like the virtual school, is still free, like it's part of the public school system as well. So do that
Wow.
while you're in that transition. And now you're not having to pay for schooling. You can probably afford a nanny, because nannies, especially in a lot of countries overseas, are under $500 a month, which if you have a child, you're paying thousands, like that, a couple thousand for daycare
Mm.
every week. So I'm like, imagine having a nanny in your house for a quarter of the cost, where now you can actually see and be with your child instead of having them in a large daycare center with a bunch of kids. We don't know what's happening. Everyone's getting sick all the time. So that's the one thing. And also, kids are very resilient. I work with moms, I work with single moms also. the kids do almost like they transition a little faster than the parents do sometimes as well. So don't discount your kids. Just make sure that you ask them like what kind of things or know about what kind of things that they like to do for fun. What is
Yeah.
their outlet? And make sure that your city has a transition them there.
No, I love
Just
that.
money,
I
the
don't think I've
financials of like,
actually sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to say like
oh, not
I
at
just feel
all.
like that is such a gem. Like I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about like the school thing from that perspective, right? Like people always like, oh, people typically jump to homeschooling or world schooling or trying to put them into like an international school, but I really love that just like easing the transition of it doesn't have to be like you take away every single thing, right? Like you can ease into it. And especially for people, and this is y'all, this is another conversation something I don't like to have. Living abroad is not for everybody. So that's the other thing. Like if you like you said, maybe you want to go, maybe you are ready to go try this out for a year or two, but like you said, maybe you're like, okay, you know what? We're gonna do this, but if we decide that we prefer to go back to the US, then it's like you're not shifting so much in terms of the education. So I really love that, Tim. And it's really cool to hear you say that sometimes the children transition quicker than the parents because I feel like that's what I've seen as well. And sometimes, the parents are like, I just don't know how my kid is going to handle this. I'm like, your kid is probably going to learn that language, be eating the food, and make friends 3 times faster
Mhm.
than you are.
Definitely, for sure. You'd be surprised with the kids, especially. Just listen to them. They're going to tell you what they want, what they need ahead of time. So just make sure that that is something that's a priority, especially when it comes to extracurricular activities. It's a good thing that we live in 2025 and not 1975. There's FaceTime, there's video games, or they still have their online community, social media. So they're not going to be completely removed from their network and friends nowadays. And then,
Okay.
yes, also moving abroad doesn't have to be a permanent, like I'm moving and I'm never coming back to the US. I'm getting rid of my passport. Sometimes we just need a break, just like a little bit of rest, just to kind of just regulate our system and then take a year, do a month. I say like a month in a new country is you've lived there because you've established your routine, you've met people. That sometimes is enough to just recalibrate things. And then when you go back to the US, you're just going to look at things a little bit differently at that point. But yeah,
Mm.
if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's what you didn't die, and you did something that most people would have always thought of but never did. So even if you feel like you failed and you went back to the US, you did not fail. You did something, and
Mm.
sometimes there's a beginning and an end to things. So maybe that just was that time frame where it was the beginning and the end. But I bet you that one, even that little as a month, your life will be completely different. You're going to start to see things differently in the US. And now you're going to start figuring out, okay, how can I make this a little bit more permanent? How about next time I do it, I do 3 months instead? Or, with kids, we do a summer or maybe we're in the school year in the year, but from the end of school until right before school starts, we are in a new country, adjusting to seeing if this is something that we could do.
Oh, I love this so much because I feel like this is one of the things that I am constantly like screaming. I'm like, y'all, moving abroad does not have to be permanent. I'm like, it's not. I'm like, the U.S. ain't going nowhere. Like
Nope.
you get in your head, you tell yourself that I'm gonna uproot my entire life and I'm gonna do all of this and I'm never gonna be able. And I'm like, says who? Who
So
like
much
who made up these
pressure.
rules? Like
Right.
you are the one who made up these rules. The reason that I even felt so confident about leaving the US last year is because first, I did a 4 month trial run in 2019. I lived abroad for 4 months and I did not move. I didn't leave the US until 2024, five
Yep.
years later. But after I did that 4 month journey, like I was changed. Like Amber said, even if you go and you live abroad for a month, you will never be the same. Because once you see culture,
The freedom.
experiences, people. Oh, come on, because we gonna get to freedom. Because you know we gonna get to freedom. Listen, once you experience that, you are forever changed. So I'm so glad you pointed that out because I think it takes the pressure off so much for the people who feel like, well, I don't know, I just don't know. What if I don't like it? What if you go for a month and find out for yourself?
Yep. Exactly. Especially as Black women, we're conditioned to be perfect. Everything has to be
Mm,
100%. The plan has to be ready to go in order for you to move forward. So I see that that's often a barrier is like my clients, especially, they need a perfect plan. They need a who, what, when, where, why, and how. And it's like sometimes we can create the plan, but you just have to go and then see what the plan is like. The vibes
yeah.
will count. The vibes will
Yeah.
be showing because the plan is done. And you just have to have that flexibility to know that, yo, y'all got to go with the flow with it because it's not going to go according to plan. But whatever goes according to plan, honestly, nothing does. We can plan all we want, but it's the resiliency, it's the being able to adjust on a notice and think things through and think, okay, listen to your gut instinct. My gut has gotten so much louder, and I used to hear something, I'd be like, and the negative side effects would happen. So it took a lot of lessons to listen to my gut, and now the end result that I want has come with it because I'm just listening. Like the voices, the ancestors are there. They are with you guys on this journey. You think they're going to let you suffer? No, but you have to listen. You have to listen.
You gotta listen, and you gotta be able, you gotta be willing to take the leap, y'all. I mean,
Yep.
go to Mexico for a month and just flop around. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, I know it sounds kind of crazy. And listen, y'all, I am Capricorn moon. I am type A. I am the girl with the plan. Okay. I have been, ask anybody in my family, I am the planner. And living abroad has taught me flexibility, flow. It's it's a different life, y'all. It's a different life. It's a different mindset, and it's beautiful. I mean, and find out for yourself, okay? You don't know where to start. Amber can help you out, okay? Find
Got
out for yourself.
it. Exactly. Exactly. I have to find like where to start is, sometimes it's figuring out where to go. So, like, knowing what your non-negotiables are. What are the things that you absolutely cannot and will not live without? Starting there. ChatGPT is here. It wasn't, and it exists when I'm abroad. So, throw it to ChatGPT and ask it, hey, I need to play it. Hey, for under $1,000 a month, that's safe for Black people, that has good elementary schools because I want my kid to go into Montessori, that has my kids into rollerblading and roller skating. So I need there to be a roller skate park there. I like to play chess, so I need to find a place that has a chess club. Pull a list of cities that I can move to, and that'll give you probably two or three, and then start from the research at that point and then go visit. Do a long
Yes.
vacation there and go. I always tell people stay in the neighborhood that you would think you would actually move to and book an Airbnb for that time versus staying in a hotel because then you're going to
Yeah.
really get to see what it's like to live there. Where's the local coffee shop that you're going to go to? Where's the co-working space that you're going to go to? Where's the sandwich shop that you're going to have? The juice place. And that way you can really vision what it's like to live there without making a permanent move initially.
100%, 100%. Yes, y'all stay away from them hotels, okay? If you are taking a true vacation and you're just trying to
Mhm.
like unplug, whatever, go
Yeah.
do your cruise, go do your resort. But if you are scouting, I need you to stay away from them hotels. I need
Mhm.
you to go be where the locals at, okay? I
Yep.
need you to chat it up with the woman in the coffee shop. I need you to say
Yep.
hello to your neighbors. Like, you really, you have this opportunity to truly see what your life could be like living here. So take that opportunity. And then I see that somebody in the
Exactly.
comments said, do either of you know anything about Croatia? I do not. I have never been. I don't know about you, Amber.
My audience, we need the warmth.
Oh,
So Croatia has not been on their list, but for vacation, I've heard really good things. Split, I believe, is one of the cities, beautiful
yeah.
beaches, and I believe it's a pretty easy process to staying there. I think that's one of the countries that lets you be there for like a year on your tourist visa as well. But yeah, it just depends on what you're like what you want and why Croatia would be my next question. Like what's drawing you there? And also like that's a country And there's so many cities. So if there's a city, that's easier for me to give you some information on versus a country. Because, you know, in the US, like Oklahoma City is different than New York City, is different than LA and Chicago. So I can't say
Yeah.
what is it like in the US because it's like, well, where in the US? Because it's so, you know, there's some sundown towns that you can't go to, and there's some places where it's open and free. So it depends.
Yeah, 100%. And I
Definitely.
see that they
Yeah.
replied and they said that I want the water. If the
Okay.
water is your number one thing, you have so many options outside of
Right.
Croatia. I'm not saying don't go to Croatia, but don't limit yourself to Croatia if your
Definitely.
requirement is the water.
And for me, I'm like, as a beach girl who lived on the beach, I'm a beach snob now. So I need the water to be warm. I don't like no cold water now. So I
Period.
need it to be closer to the equator so I can actually get in the water. Or like a city like Panama City's on the water, but you can't really get in the water in Panama City. You kind of have to go a little bit to the outskirts or to the Caribbean seaside. So it just depends. Do you want to look at the water? Do you want to actually get into the water? Does it matter what temperature the water? What about the sand? Do you like a specific sand? Are you okay with rocks at the beach? Those are all things that, since living on the islands, I've become very, very bougie about.
Period. And y'all can see why y'all need to book a call with her because even just breaking down what type of beach are you trying to be at, like it's and I'm telling you, these are the kind of things you will not know unless you travel. Because I grew up on the coast in North Carolina, so the water I was like Atlantic, warm water, no rocks. I just assumed all beaches were like that, and baby, after traveling, I was like, oh, so y'all just put these photos of the beach for me to look at. Okay, like I see, this wasn't the swimming beach, so it's a
Exactly.
very valid point.
Yep. Too funny. Exactly.
So
But yes, definitely
Amber,
have both there.
oh, go ahead.
In Croatia. Oh, I was replying to the comment.
Okay. So let's shift a little bit and talk about freedom because you know, it's funny because I mean we've been connected now and I've been watching your video. Like every time you talk about freedom, I just feel like I get goosebumps because we're just so aligned and just being, you know, Black women that were, you know, born and raised you were born in the US, right? I'm like, let me not speak if I don't even know.
Deep
I think you
South
were. I think you said,
Texas.
okay, yeah, yeah. So, you know, both being like Black women born in the US and then experiencing living abroad, your definition of freedom changes. So tell us a little bit about what freedom means to you now as a Black woman from the US. I already love this space.
Woo. Honestly, uh, to mine, the MLK quote, I've been to the mountaintop. And so once I got a taste of that, I knew that there was no going back. For me, freedom was driving and a police officer coming behind me and me not getting tense at the wheel, turning the radio down and slowing down. I will never forget. It took me about a year in Antigua living where I will never forget this moment. I was driving and a police came behind me and there was no change in my mood, my demeanor. And when I realized it, I had to pull over to the side of the road and I wept. I wept, like Iyanla said, because I was like, this is the life, y'all. Like, I didn't know I could live like this. Like, and it took me like a year of integrating in because I will never forget. My first time going to Carnival in Antigua, my cousin was driving us around and we pulled up by some police officers. It was me, my brother, and my best friend. And we all got quiet. And then we all looked at each other and realized, like, why did we just get quiet? And we started busting out laughing. And my cousin was like, what's going on? He's driving. And we're like, the police officer is there. He's like, what? He rolled down the window, was like, started cussing him out. We were like, like, like what? And he's like, yeah, it's nothing. And so once I realized that moment, I was like, okay, this is real. Like I can be in a place where I'm not afraid to go outside. Like I walk in Mexico 4 a.m., 5 a.m. on a Saturday night in my neighborhood. It is quiet. No one is bothering me. I don't get accosted. It's just a different feeling that I didn't know could exist even in the place where everyone was like, "Ooh, be careful, be careful of the cartel, be afraid." I was like, the cartel ain't never done nothing to me. I ain't never heard the cartel kill a black woman from the U.S. I ain't. So
Me
what am I
either.
really afraid of? Now they got their own. Every country has their own ups and their downs. But I can only speak on my perspective as a black woman from the US and what that's like living in different countries because everyone is different. So it's just a feeling of like safety of being able to move and shake when I want to go. Now that I'm an entrepreneur, I have a freedom in my schedule. I don't have to ask somebody for a day off or to call in
Mm,
sick or if I want to go on vacation. That's not freedom. That's teacher. That's elementary. Excuse me, can I use the restroom? I gotta ask to pee. Like I'm a grown adult. That's not free. So
mm,
that was freedom for me, was being able to make decisions on my life based on how I want it and not having to worry about anybody else. So going to a place
mm,
where your culture is loved and appreciated and being able to do as you want to do, it's unheard of some
mm,
in the US, but I was able to achieve that overseas. And I'm like, I didn't know that this was possible. I thought that,
mm.
a lot of people, I think they say 1 in 3 people from the US has a passport. Doesn't mean that they use it. Most people don't even leave their home state, let alone their home city, their hometown. So how would you know that this freedom exists if you've never seen it? You just think, well, this is what I see, so this is how everywhere is. And the US does a really good job of painting that picture, which adds that fear of like, well, if I'm here and the police are shooting me or I'm getting discriminated against, why wouldn't they do that anywhere else? I don't even live there. I'm a foreigner. But it's not the case. So that took some time for me to realize that. But I was like, oh, now I see what privilege is, what white privilege is I was able to tap into that in another country and see what the freedom feels like to just be you and not have people, that the running joke is you're never alone as a black woman in the US because someone always has their eyes on you. That's the
Mm.
case here. I do get a lot of stares here, but it's more of intrigue, more of like,
Yeah,
how did you find out about this versus you shouldn't be here? That's a way
yeah,
different type of energy. So yeah, once I hit
100%.
that, I was like, oh, there's no way I can go back. And I've been back to the US. I was back for, oh, my dad got sick. So I went back for almost a year. I never left the house. And I went to my hometown. The energy just
Mm.
felt like, I don't wanna, because I feel like as soon as I leave the house, something's gonna happen. And I don't
Yeah,
like that feeling. I don't have that
yeah.
here.
Mm. Y'all, listen to Amber because the things that she is describing, first of all, let me say I can attest to them. Let me that. And also, you can't know until you know. You can listen to us talk about this all day long, but to experience this yourself is a completely different feeling. And I actually remember my husband and I had a similar experience in Colombia where like we see like the cops and we would just be like, oh, and they're just like, buenos dias, keep it moving. Like
Yeah.
you actually felt like they were there to protect.
Protect.
Like they minding their own business. Like it's just it's these things that seem so small and then you start to recognize and because I've visited the US 3 times, y'all, since I left last year, because y'all know the people like to be like, you'll be back, oh, you're gonna go out there and see the US is the best country in the world, and I'm like, you're dumb. I've already left and went back multiple times. What are you talking about? Like
Yep.
you clearly have never left, and whatever, that's cool. But when you experience it and like you said, you get back in the US and then you leave again, like y'all, I never consider myself an anxious person. I never consider myself stressed, anxious. When I tell y'all, when I left the US last year, I didn't even realize it was like something was like clinking to like the back of my neck. It was like it just lifted. It was like 48 hours and I was like, oh my God, I just feel
Yep.
good. Like I feel I'm not in a hurry. Like I
Mhm.
have time to do the things that I need to do. I'm outside. Oh, I'm outside. I'm not just watching Netflix. I'm not just working. I'm not just on my phone. People, so y'all, I'm in Medellin, Colombia right now, and y'all, people are like, what's your favorite thing to do in Medellin? Sit on the balcony and be outside. That is my
Just
number one
breathe.
favorite thing to do in Medellin, Colombia. Please tell me, who do you know in the US when you say, oh, what do you like to do in your spare time? What are your hobbies? Who is like, I like to just sit outside? It doesn't, it's unfortunate, like it doesn't happen. And I'll never pretend like there are not good things about the US, okay? Like being a US
Mhm.
American, listen, we have a lot of privilege there, okay?
Mhm.
Now if you black, you ain't got all the privileges. But in general, being a US citizen, I'm not gonna pretend like it does not come with its perks. But
Yep,
I'm
definitely.
gonna tell you, the perk that you're missing out on is peace.
Yep,
Like mental health,
yep,
healthy foods, community. Whew, let me
yep,
let me
yep.
let me
That
scale it back because
passport.
I know
No,
I
that passport. That's your freedom papers, y'all. That's the freedom papers that
mm,
our ancestors fought for. Was the ability to be free. And freedom is the ability to move when you want to go.
mm,
Go where you're loved and appreciated. So if you love the US,
yes.
fantastic. Like I said, I love me some Whataburger, okay? Some Shake Shack, all right? I love some central heat and air, okay? I love constant hot water, all right? And I also love being in other places where the food has seeds and I could plant them and they're not sterilized,
Mm,
where the meats aren't pumped with antibiotics. It does something to you. It does something.
mm,
But yeah, go back. What? Okay, so you go back to the US. What's the big hullabaloo? Like, you still left. Most people won't even get off their front porch. So if they have anything to say about you leaving and coming back, be like, yeah, but that was the intention. The
yeah.
intention was to see it and come back and see and reevaluate things afterwards. Oh
Yeah.
well. What's the
Mm,
big you didn't like I said, you didn't die. You probably had a lot of fun and you probably released some stuff that was no longer serving you anymore.
mm,
And now go back and see what you do with this new knowledge, with this new person. And you're gonna see
yeah.
what changes. But also those people, you probably end up leaving them along the way. Get ready to lose some friends and some family members along the way
Yeah.
because if they can't see the vision, that's fine. It's your vision. It's not theirs. But at least you can be
Mm,
supported in your journey. And if they're not, love them from afar because your
mm,
community is out there. You're not alone when you move abroad. There's other people who've done it, who've left home on their own and had to build from scratch again. The expat community, I call them expatogrants because sometimes you're expat and immigrant depending on like how long you're there. And it's like an interesting flow because we're a person of color, so we're automatically an immigrant, but we're from the US, so we're expat. So we can go in between both. But your expatriate community is going to be your like solid community there because they know what you've gone through. They've done it also, so they understand and they can have these conversations with you of like, what do you do about loneliness or about being okay with being alone? I don't even think it's lonely. It's just being okay with being by yourself and being in your thoughts. And what does that come? They can attest to that versus if you've never left, you wouldn't know. And so some
mm,
conversations just aren't meant for everybody. So don't tell everybody.
mm.
I tell people don't tell no one until you actually some of my students didn't even tell people till they got to the new country because they
Period.
already knew the lip service they were gonna get. Like your
Period.
people. You know who's surprised. Ooh, yeah, and who's like, girl, don't do that. Don't tell the girl, don't. Mm-mm. Tell the delusional friend, like, yes, oh my God, yeah. That's who you want on your team. That's who you want
Yeah.
because you need all of the love and the light in your way because you're going to start shedding things that don't serve you anymore, that you didn't even want in the beginning, that you didn't even want for yourself, that either other people put on you or that you put on yourself that wasn't beneficial to who you are and what you want in your life. And
Yeah.
that's a grieving process to lose people, to lose parts of yourself that you've been holding on to this narrative that it isn't working. So give yourself some time, some alone time to just process this. It's a lot, but it's a beautiful process to be able to choose you. That's freedom, is me choosing me, what I want to do with my life, not my mama, not my daddy, even though they all very supportive, but none of them can tell me what to do. And I can actually make a decision on like, this is how I want to move and operate and go from there and just throw caution to the wind, listen to your ancestors, you know, use critical thinking skills and talk to people. You'll
Yeah.
learn a lot.
Mm. So beautifully said, Amber. I see Bojetto Priestess said, do you know Roger? He lives in Colombia. Are you talking about RJ? Because if you are, I do know him. Fun fact. And then looking to
It's
bounce
so
says
small
100%
community.
agree. We are.
The
Listen,
black people abroad, there's not a lot of us, y'all. You're going to run into someone who knows somebody.
100%. Like, and it's funny because I actually didn't even really discover that until later last year. I was like, oh, like you kind of know in your head that like there's not a lot of us, but then like the more you move, the more you be like, oh, you know her? I know her. And it just it happens. And I think that's beautiful. And
Yes.
then looking to bounce said your people are out there, the people who really love you, will support you. He's yeah, 100%. Y'all, me and my husband, we told our close family and friends. Everybody else found out 1 week after we were already in Brazil through a social media post. Through a social media I was like, for what?
For
I've already
what?
been down this road. I'm not bad to be listening to the people who don't even have a passport telling me how dangerous Brazil is. I was like, I'm not. I'm like, we told parents, a few cousins, and close circle friends. Everybody else, oh, hey, by the way, we left. Like, you
Yep.
got to know because you're already going to have, look, we're human, we all have imposter syndrome, we all have this negative self-talk. You're already going to have to deal with your own mental things going through this. You don't need that from nobody else. And like Amber said, your people, so speak to the people who are going to support you. He runs a mood travel group. Yes, Bojetto, I do know him. You know what's funny? We're actually going to be going live soon. So yeah, I do know him. Small world, and he's in
See, like
Mexico right now.
I said.
Funny enough.
And now it's something as simple as that. Like someone who was abroad, who's in the US, knows someone that lives in another country. So it's like, oh, well, let me connect you. Like, oh, do you know this person? And y'all meet each other. And then that opens up a whole new world. And then also people move around. So the person who was in Brazil, they may decide to go to Lisbon next year. And now
Yep.
they've built a community there. So now you can tap into not only the community in Colombia, but if they go to Lisbon, now you have access to that community. Built
Yeah.
in community just from the small group that we have. But it
Yeah.
grows.
It does 100%. Amber, this was such a great conversation. Thank you so much. I mean, I love, there were so many gems dropped, so many truths, so many facts that we just needed to get out there because a lot of people they're saying certain things, but they're not saying all the things. And I think especially as Black women, because like just because of so much that we go through mentally and spiritually in the US, we see other people living this life, but we're like, well, I don't know if that's for me, or I don't know if I can do it. And that's why I tell people all the time, that's why I go live. I'm like, I'm a real person. Amber is a real person. We're real Black women with real experiences. And like, we are here to be resources for y'all to let you know that this life is possible. And speaking of Amber, for the people who are watching this, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, and they're like, all right, I'm in. Where is Amber? How do I find her? What you got for me? Go ahead and let us know how we can get in touch.
Definitely. Instagram is honestly the only social media platform that I'm on. So you guys can always DM me. I don't have many chat or any of the AI. So if you get a DM for me, it's my Twitter fingers and my voice. Um, my website is up, www.overseaswithease.app. That's APP. And yeah, we open up new students starting in September. So if you're ready to start planning, this is the time to get in, especially if you're a parent. Let's start planning during the school year. So by the end of the school year, you guys can spend summer break in your new country. I also created a GPT, my own custom GPT that I trained with the data that I've been using creating for the past 5 years. And it's called Discover Your Destination. So if you don't know where you want to go, what it does is a 23 question quiz and it's a live class. So you're doing it with me as well. Because you know, ChatGPT, she be lying sometimes. So I do it together and it pulls a list of your top 4 cities and neighborhoods that's going to be the best fit for you. And start there because now you have an idea of where to go. And then in the class, I teach you how to use the GPT, right, like Chat GPT, to get even more information for you. So it can honestly plan your move within a few hours. And at that point, it's up to you to save money, figure out what to do with your house. Are you going to keep it? Are you going to sell it? Are you have an apartment? When does your lease end? What about your furniture? Start to deal with the US physical tactical things because the plan is done. The plan is done. And now you can get rid of everything in the US and you have a date and start saving just to have a little nest egg. But to be honest, y'all, I moved abroad by myself when I was divorced with $800 in the bank in my business
Mm.
that I'm still doing now. No guaranteed clients. I had no paycheck coming in, nothing. I had $800 in a dream. And I'm still here, okay? I'm still here. So it's possible. It doesn't have to be expensive, but let me know. I love problem solving. I'm a natural problem solver. And figure out how to get the process moving for you guys and how to work through those blocks and those things that have stopped you from accomplishing that dream. We can knock that out. I say 80% of a move is mental, 20% is the plan. We can knock
Mm.
out the plan in a weekend. And if your mind says that your move is going to be successful, it will. If you tell yourself, I'm going to fail, I'm going to have to come back to the US, then you will. Whatever your
Mm.
mind says happens. So we're going to start to focus on the mindset part of things now in Overseas with Ease because the plan is done. It's about to be automated. So every week we're going to have, every Saturday, we have weekly calls with my community and I'm bringing in a mental health professional also. So we can talk about those mindset blocks and holdups when you either preparing for your move, but also when you move abroad, things are changing. So let's get that together and get your plan together, get your little bit of coin together, figure out where you're going to go and go. And just wait.
Mm.
You can come back after Trump is unelected or maybe he'll stay another term. It's what they're trying to talk about. Yes, girl. They trying it. So, and as an
Uh,
astrocartography like nerd, I'm in the books like, but yeah. So I'm here for you guys. We're here to brainstorm. There's no question I don't know. I've done this for 5 years. I've worked with hundreds of people. I've heard it all before. So let's now make something tailored specifically to you, your wants, your needs, and your desires.
Mm, all of that. All of that. Y'all, you done heard her speak. Okay, you know what to do. You know what to do. Make sure y'all follow Amber. Make sure y'all book a call with her because she know what she's doing, okay? And whenever I am in Mexico again, we definitely have to link up. I mean, I know we hung out a little bit in Texas, but we gotta link up in Mexico for sure.
Yes, come through. I'm on the beach, man. Or I'll be, like I said, I go back and forth between Mexico City and Puerto Escondido, Oaxaca. So we can meet up somewhere along the way.
Yes, we will. We will make it happen. Thank you everywhere for joining. Those of you who watch live, those of you who are on the replay, thank you for joining. And yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.